Checking in with the first 5 chapters of Run Me to Earth, not a 2020 novel by Paul Yoon. Uh, Opens in 1969 Laos, where in a foreword, the author talks about how for 7 years straight, the American government bombed Laos as basically as a part of sort of like one of these adjuncts to the Vietnam War, where they're basically trying to take out the socialist government that they felt was like too close to the Chinese and stuff like that. Um, this novel seems to be centering on three teenage kids, Alsac, um, Prang, and Noi, two males, female, I believe, who are working at a field hospital, riding their bikes through the kind of the bombed out, um, the live like minefields that have been mapped as couriers to get like supplies, people sometimes, and they're working for a doctor, a Vietnamese doctor, Vrang, who speaks French in this kind of hospital, which seems to have been formerly a Frenchman's villa, and they get. It seems like they end up pulling out the hospital, um, praying, not praying. Alsac gets loaded on a plane and ends up in France. That's sort of, we get a little section on him in France, just newly arrived, talking to a girl, um, trying to kind of make sense of things, I guess. Um, and then we jump to, I think it's Noi, only going by Auntie, who is working as sort of a resistance fighter um, against the socialist government, the Pathat. Oh, all my pronunciations are going to be shit. Um, and she's hearing kind of like reports on her friends, Prang and Brat, and Vrang, who are being held at a detention camp. Um, and she's with a guy, Toby, who is like a bit old, is like, maybe a decade older than her, but she seems like older than them. And she only goes by Auntie, and nobody else knows her as anything else. And she's ferrying people out. And indeed, we have a scene where it's like, um, it's a father, mother, and child, and they're afraid of them. Like, this is a trick. You're trying to help us, but this is a trick. And she actually cuts his leg, the father's leg, as he's like choking out his child, as sort of his only threat of like, I'll kill what is most precious to me. And he cuts his leg, able to get the child free, and bandages up the thing, and they get them across the river. And before, and it's like carefully timed because the next patrol boat is coming around, and like they have a countdown, and like it's like, oh, at the end of the countdown, everyone hides, everyone's underneath branches, and it goes by, and then they're out again. And then, and that's like I think 73, and then now we flash to 77, where it is Vrang and P. God, I'm getting my names screwed up. I will have to kind of look up everybody's name and try and write them down to get them correctly. Are getting released from this detention center, and it's like it's a socialist education camp where they are brutalized. And even at the end there, they're just, he backstalks a commandant or whatever and gets his face smashed into the thing. They get loaded up into a blacked out van and driven to like a bus station, and told like, okay, well, you're gonna catch a bus, and these are gonna be your new life. You're gonna be working on farms, and the commander or whatever looks at Vrang's things like, oh, doctor, we don't have any doctor postings. It's like, yeah, he's gonna get sent to the country to like, work or whatever. But when they get to the bus station, they go behind and they find, as they've been told, a shoebox full of money and I don't think there's some papers or something like that, but not like, official papers, whatever. They get that. They get a taxi and they get themselves taken to a little inn where, basically they're just bribing everyone as they go along. And I can't think that this is going to end well, that someone's going to take the money and then just tell the socialist dictators what's going on, and they're going to get picked up or shot or something like that. And indeed, there's an ominous thing of like, this would be this would be the last day that he would see Vrang. So it's like, oh God, he's going to end up shot in the head or something at the end of this day or something like that, unless he suddenly can get away somehow. Who knows? I guess we shall see. I'm halfway through this chapter. It seems like a very, so far, maybe efficient book. Efficient, very clean, very polished. It's super intense things that are happening. And I guess I don't, it's like, how would I react in situations like that? But it seems maybe a little too efficient, a little too polished at this point, but I guess I'm early in, though actually it's a fairly short novel, so it'll be interesting to see whether it will pick up and it will grab me, or if it will just pass right through me and I'm just too dull and just too provincial in my outlook to actually capture what's going on here. I've done the Wikipedia thing of looking up the history of Laos and what's been going on during this period. And the novel's been doing a pretty good job of filling in sort of the same gaps. It's like, oh, I remember this from my Wikipedia scholarship, so that is okay. But yeah, efficient, polished. We'll see if it's anything that's going to stick with me. All right, more videos later.